Hello loves! Books with Bowman is back. I need to get caught up on read alouds. So today I'm going to actually try to fit in a few books, and if you remember, these are some of the books that my kids loved when they were your age. So I thought it would be really fun to read them to you guys. We'll see how many I can get through, but I will keep adding them to the library because this way, over the summer, if you want to see my face or listen to my voice, you can do that by just tuning into our YouTube channel. And the same goes for Mrs. Ferreira or Mrs. G, because you can always turn into YouTube and go over our lessons, and that'll get you ready for third grade. So today's story, the first story for today, is A Camping Spree with Mr. Magee. And Mr. Magee, these are some of my favorite books. So this is the second Mr. Magee book that I'll have read to you. And the author and illustrator is Chris Van Dusen. That name should ring a bell. From If I Built a House, If I Built a Car, If I Built a School. One of my favorites for sure. So let's see what happens on a camping spree with Mr. Magee. I can't wait. There's always so many zany, crazy things going on with Mr. Magee. And already, that gives me an indication of something wild is about to happen. Early one morning at 7:03, Mr. Magee and his little dog Dee packed up the camper and hitched up the load. They hopped on the Rambler and then hit the road. They drove to the mountains far from the sea for 2 nights of camping, or possibly 3. There's nothing like camping, said Mr. Magee. I know you'll love it. Just wait and see. The views are fantastic. There's hardly a sound. Aside from the wildlife, there's no one around. And the air is so sweet, you'll sleep like a log, said Mr. Magee to his small, spotted dog. Mr. Magee's stories are awesome for finding nouns and adjectives, verbs, really descriptive words Chris Van Dusen uses in his stories, which is one of the reasons I love him. A few hours later, they took a sharp right and found a great spot to lay camp for the night. It was high on a hill with a beautiful view of Mount Adams, Mount Lincoln, and Jefferson too. But perhaps the most wonderful feature of all was the brook that ran over a steep waterfall. Here it is here. You see that? Just love his illustrations. There's so much detail. It looks like so real. As the embers of the fire went out, they felt tired and dozy, so they climbed in their bunk beds, all comfy and cozy. But while they were falling asleep without care, along came a stumbling, bumbling bear. That can only mean trouble. A kindly old bear whose sight wasn't so clear. He couldn't see far, and he couldn't see near. Who does that remind you guys of? Me! I'm struggling to see the words on the page right now, as a matter of fact. But he could smell marshmallows, sticky and sweet, and this smell made him hungry. He wanted a treat. Well, if I smelled marshmallows, and you guys know I love marshmallows, and I love Peeps. Peeps are made out of marshmallow. I'd want a treat too. He sniffed out the place where the marshmallows lay. But the car and the camper were in the bear's way. Yes, that didn't stop the sneaky old snitch. He simply tried squeezing right under the hitch. And as he was shimmying into the gap, he pushed up that hitch, which let go with a snap. Oh no. So guys, here is the hitch. Like on the back of a car or a truck, there's something called a hitch. And it's a piece of metal that sticks out, and it also has like a knob on the end. So that way if you pull up a trailer or something else that you want to haul or pull or tow behind the car or truck, you can connect those two pieces and it'll stay together. You'll see that on a lot of trucks. And a lot of, not all cars have them. You actually have to put them on, but you can. Mr. Bowman has one on his truck because we haul a trailer a lot and sometimes a camper. So that big old bear climbed under the hitch and snap, there it went. Oh boy. Now that camper and car were untied. They started to roll down the rocky hillside. The car bounced away on the old logging road while the camper was heading to where the stream flowed. Eee! It flew down the hill in a wild, bumpy ride, with Dee and Magee still sleeping soundly inside. Oh boy, imagine when they wake up. What's a feeling you might feel if you suddenly woke up and your camper was streaming down a hill? They were snoring and snoozing, enjoying a dream, when splash, went the camper right into the stream. Oh boy. The splash shook the camper. They bumped out of bed. Now what in the world was that? Magee said. And when he looked out and saw where they were, his hair stood on end, and so did Dee's fur. That means your hair sticks up. Kind of like if you get scared or frightened, the hair on your arms might stick up. They were caught in the rapids, but that wasn't all. They were headed smack dab for that huge waterfall. Dee and Magee both started to quiver. That means shake. And faster they headed downriver. But just when they thought they'd fall over the edge, what do you think might happen? Oh boy. Their camper got stuck on a rock at the ledge. So there they were, stranded, Magee and his pup, on the top of a waterfall, 50 feet up. Whoa. Now you guys know that I do not like heights. I love water, but I don't love heights. So that would make me incredibly nervous. Meanwhile, that nearsighted bear from before, you know the one, was searching for one little marshmallow more. Well, of course, when you love marshmallows, you always want another one. When lo and behold, as out of a dream, he spied something sweet floating over the stream. So he's looking at the hitch. And in his, because remember, he doesn't see so well, so he sees something white and shiny, and he thinks it might be a what? Another marshmallow. But what the bear thought was a marshmallow treat was really the hitch and not something to eat. But do you think that's a good thing or a not so good thing that he's mistaken right now? Do you think the bear will be able to help them in some way? Or maybe cause more of a problem? I don't know, let's see. The bear was determined to capture his prize. So he jumped in the water right up to his thighs. He splashed through the stream to the edge of the fall and snatched up that trailer hitch, camper and all. I love the look on Magee and Dee's face when they see the bear coming. They have to be thinking, what is going on? Now remember, they were asleep when the bear came to their campsite and ate the marshmallows. Dee felt a tug. Magee heard a knock. As the bear pulled the camper right off of the rock, he dragged them both all the way back to the bank when he realized the hitch was not sweet, but quite rank. He spit out the hitch and left in dismay. It means he was not happy. While Magee and Dee's camper again rolled away, it flew down the path with a jolt and a jar. Where could it ever be going now? And stopped in some bushes right next to the car. Dee popped her head out. Magee looked out too. Had they really stopped rolling? Could it be true? At last things were quiet and peaceful and still. They hooked up the hitch and drove off down the hill. And on the way home, Magee said to Dee, "That trip wasn't quite like I thought it would be." So when they got home, with the sky turning red, what time of day was it when they got home? Sunset, PM? They decided to camp in the backyard instead. A much safer, more predictable place to camp, for sure. The end. Hope you guys loved A Camping Spree with Mr. Magee. It's one of my favorites.